Please welcome to the stage Chief Operating Officer Mark Bennett and IDLife partner.
How's everybody doing? I don't know what I do wrong, but I appreciate it. I get to go after Keith Kraft. How was that? Is that amazing? Have a seat, Paul. Guys, if you were here last night, you got an opportunity to see kind of the science behind everything. But one of the things that I wanted to do with Paul today was talk about something that's a little bit different. I wanted to explain why we even have ID Nutrition in the first place. Everybody want to know why? Paul, I know it's kind of a long story, but if you can, just explain to people how we got here.
Well, I talked a little bit about it yesterday, that my early career had a drugstore and a hospital pharmacy in Santa Barbara, California. This is about 40 years ago, and one day I came home to my wife, and she was showing me my daughter Stephanie. She had been bathing her, and she had some bruises on her arms and on her side. And of course, I kind of took the clinical approach and said she probably needs a little bit more vitamin C. Maybe her capillaries breaking down. And so, because she hadn't been roughhousing, she hadn't been playing with her sisters. She's the third of 4 girls. So she said, "No, I think we better take her into the doctor." So we did, and I remember that fateful Saturday raining. The doctor said, the pediatrician said, "I'd like to come to your house and talk to you about Stephanie." So he remember him sitting in the fireplace. It's kind of one of these times in your life that you'll never forget, and gave us a diagnosis of acute lymphocytic leukemia, giving her 3 months to live. So needless to say, I'm feeling devastated, powerless, because here I had a hospital pharmacy with all the lotions and injectables and tablets, and that we were actually treating cancer patients there, not very successfully in those days, 40 years ago. And my drugstore with all the prescription meds that we had there and injectables. And remember the next day just feeling at a loss, driving to work and asking God, what can I do? Where should I take her? We ended up taking her into Children's Hospital, but at that time, I said that, "Lord, if you'll only heal her," because and I looked up in the clouds and I saw this cross that I knew it was going to be okay. And I said, I'll dedicate my life to healing people at that point, and not just symptom suppression, what I feel a normal pharmacy is doing in those days, and even maybe worse today. So knowing that nutrition was the way to go, I felt, and I probably had more vitamins in my drugstore than the local vitamin store at that time, and of course was a student of orthomolecular chemistry and biochemistry, and dedicated myself to learning more of it. So from that very point, moving forward through my formulation part of my career, recognized that we really, one size does not fit all in vitamins. When I was selling something to a person, I knew what drugs they were taking, I knew their medical condition, and I knew really that the vitamin was going to help. It was better than nothing. It was probably better than the nutrition they were getting in their foods, but it really wasn't unique enough for them, for their particular medical condition, prescription use, dietary habits, lifestyle, etc. So at that point, I started moving forward with the concept of personalized nutrition. Had the pleasure of working with a skincare company, Murat Skincare, that I did 200 products for, and he was very concerned about the drug-nutrient interactions, adverse drug events. So he said, what can we do to solve that with all these products we have? So I started to develop the software, And I think some of you from Texas have heard the story that actually did some work for a couple of years with Zig Ziglar. And he wanted a personalized weight loss program. So he started to work on the software, ordered in the equipment, probably a stage 1 equipment where it's click and drag, pharmaceutical packaging that they use in hospitals for unit dose, and the much simpler and less efficient than the machines you have now in IDLife. So it's kind of evolved. We actually developed then a Zig, and the Zig Ziglar network only lasted a year and a half or so. So he sold me the company for $1, and we moved on. So in the year 2000, we would where we'd already been working on this for a couple of years. We ended up with the first rendition of the personalized nutrition, which is we had about 400 rules in those days, Mark. It was pretty simple, and we got up to 900. We thought we were doing a big deal, and I want to tell you today that in the last 12 months we've moved from 4,000 up to 5,657. So the evolution of it, when Logan talks about the movie and the scripting and the tweaking, it's the same thing with the software. It's been really a living document that today we look at every day. We correct it. We do research looking at 5,200 journals per month to keep it updated. We look at all the new drugs that come out each month, and we look at the way it's metabolized in the liver to be sure. We don't want to wait 3 years for an adverse drug event where somebody has an adverse reaction, ends up in the hospital. So we're looking at the way the drugs are metabolizing in the liver from the very start, and other companies can't figure that out for 3 years. So know that the safety is built in. It's just a dream come true for me, because we're able to make anybody in this audience that would be over 35 have a really unique product and different from anybody else that's here.
Well, one of the most powerful things that we believe it comes with the ID Nutrition is how we avoid the contradiction with pharmaceuticals. You can't just explain what we go through on a monthly basis to keep up with that.
Well, it's really looking at all the new drugs. It said and in some cases we'll go back. What I want you to know is we're not like locked into what we have in the program today. If it's wrong, or if we see new science, a new study that comes out and contradicts a recommendation we made 3 months ago, we change it. That we're looking at the ingredients, that new uses for the same ingredients or new ingredients, and we're evolving into some new formulas we talked about yesterday with K2 and the cardio formula. But with a prescription, we're really, I said, looking at the way it's metabolized in the liver and being able to predict if it interacts with a particular nutrient class.
In fact, one of the things we probably need to let everyone know about is one of the areas we've been looking at closely is neuropathy.
Right. Yeah, we had some physicians over the past 6 months, some big physician groups looking at a little hole we had in the program that we knew about it, but didn't want to be bringing it to needing to add a whole new product line. So we're able to, because of the kind of versatility of the nutrients we have, just bring in a real high dose alpha-lipoic acid, the 200 milligram that we're ready to launch in a week or two, I think.
That's right. We're ready to go.
So around that, right, not only several algorithms that are related to neuropathy, but probably another 20 uses for it that's going to get some pretty broad application. Alpha-lipoic acid they call the universal antioxidant. It's one that is not only good for neuropathies, but it recharges vitamin C and E. So it'll be just a tremendous addition to the program.
The best part about ID Nutrition, if you take nothing else away from this, is it is a living, breathing product. It changes all the time, and it changes as the science changes. Very much like the assessment kind of changes sometimes when it needs to. You know, I'm sorry, Paul, I actually got to stand up for this one. I'm pretty excited.
Okay.
You guys want to see something new? I've got to stand up because, you know, we've been working on this for a long time. And we started out with ID Assessment 1.0, if you remember this. This was a long time ago, right when the company started. If you were here in the beginning, you remember what this looked like. Then we progressed to ID Assessment 2.0. And everything got a lot better. And you could see things a little bit differently. It was more of a dynamic site. But then we decided maybe we need to go to 3.0. You guys want to see it? I don't know if you're excited or not. Now, this is a preview. It will come with the new assessment and with the new website when we launch it. But I cannot tell you how excited we are to bring you some of the changes that you're about to see. So let's start out with the first page. That's the old one. How about we go to 3.0? I'm bringing it. Hey, I only tell them when to click. It's going to come with me, trust me. You notice something different already? All right, so let's start with the easy. We're going to show you exactly where you are in the process. So you're going to be able to see as it goes down the line. No longer will you have to wonder, when is this going to end? How long will it take? You'll know exactly the process that you're going through. You like that part? You still have HIPAA. It's still going to show you that it's there because if you remember right, that is what everything is based on. It's still covered by a medical record protocol. There's something new though that you probably have never seen before. And that's called the health score. We're going to talk about that one in just a second. As you progress through, you notice you also have the progression. You get to see the little icons as they come down. You're going to notice that you progress downward. So it's going to be a scroll down the screen all the way through the program. When you get to the medications and you get to the conditions, you're going to notice something. It's much easier to do searches now. Much easier. Now, let's look at what could arguably be the most exciting part of the new assessment. You have a new ID health score. Now, if you remember, one of the things we always talk about is you guys spend about 15.9 seconds on the normal report. Now imagine you're actually going to get your own health score in a numeric form. And the only way to improve your score is to do what? Improve your answers. So you're actually going to read your report. But here's the most exciting thing about this score. You see the Facebook, Twitter? When you hit that, it automatically sends it out on your Facebook and Twitter, and it tells the world, this is my score, what's yours? The other thing that we've done is if they actually click on the link, it's going to take them directly to your assessment. You like that feature? We've added a few other things. You're going to see that your supplements are going to be broken out into morning and evening dosing right there. One of the other things that we learned is that over 60% of the people, when we talked about the Y button, they went and clicked on the question mark, not the Y button. So what we've done is we've made the question mark the Y button and the question mark. So not only do you get the information about the nutraceutical, you get all the information about the Y. One of the other changes that we have done, and this is actually going to be changing even the way you see it right now, you're automatically going to have your supplement facts being created dynamically as you go through. And we're going to break it out in AM, PM dosing so you'll know exactly what's in your AM pack, what's exactly in your PM pack. You like that? And of course, it also has a dynamic shopping cart, so as you add or as you subtract, the cart updates automatically. One of the other things this system is going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to take in dynamic information. So your actual height, your actual weight. There was only one problem. A lot of you are familiar with the 100-pound rule. So we were trying to figure out what was going to happen if you entered a weight that was under 100 pounds. Paul, this was a creature of love. It really was. I mean, it took us 13 months to get this right.
At least.
13 months. And the story behind this one is pretty interesting. It took 13 months because we traveled the country and North America, including Canada. And what we found was this. We have purposeful product development here. We decide to build things because we think that what's available right now is not good enough. And we think we can do it better. And as we travel the country talking to manufacturers, a lot of them were very set in there are 11 to 18 vitamins and minerals, and that's all there are, and that's all you give kids. But you know what? That just isn't good enough. There is a better way. There is a better formula. In fact, we had that formula. We literally spoke to every gummy manufacturer in the United States, every single one of them that was reputable, including the ones in Canada. And what we found was this. They were set in their ways, and they were not willing to do what we knew was right.
Mark, you forgot the Pop Rocks guys.
Yeah, I forgot that too.
And the one I didn't tell you about was the sippy straws.
We were trying everything. And what we found was that when you're dealing with people and you understand that you have an uncompromising approach to things, and you're not going to compromise in any way, especially when you're dealing with kiddos. When we're building things like this, we're not only thinking about our own families. Logan's two boys are like sons to me. But I'm also thinking of every one of you that has kids in the audience, and every one of you that has grandkids, and people that you know that have kids. And, as a company, Paul and I decided that we were just going to keep searching until we got it right. And 13 months later, we found a chewable that is not only tastes great, but it also has some things that others just don't. And I want to talk about it. If you can, Paul, just kind of give a little bit of this history, because it's long in the making.
Yeah, as we looked at all the competition, or what you'd find on the shelves out there, and the number 11 to 18 was closer to 11 when you get to some of the store brands. And you wonder why. Why would they only have sparse vitamins, 1 or 2 minerals? Some of them, not all of them, maybe calcium. All of them would have zinc, but none of them the other minerals, which we call kind of a comprehensive mineral panel of calcium, potassium, selenium, copper, manganese, all these things that really work on various kind of systems within the child's body. And I told Mark that we're calling it, the IDRevolution. ID for kids. That I really look at it as the IDLife brain, nerve, visual, heart, liver, bone, and blood formula. It's because every nutrient we have in there develops those systems that are needed so much for children. And the big one is the brain, because the void left in the competition, because the child's brain, if not developed early, it has a lot to do with cognition, memory, and learning capability. So we have several ingredients in there that address brain that the competition doesn't. So we look at the visual part of it, the development of the eye and the eye tissue, the ability to see, and that's the way a child learns. So relatively new, it's something there's new science on, a lutein complex that has in it zeaxanthine and cryptoxanthine that work on the visual development of the child, but also the brain. And they've showed that 50% of the tissue, Mark, in the eye between a 1 and a 4-year-old, the tissue of an eye has 50% more lutein than you and I. And it's not being supplied in any of these vitamins. And unless you're really careful giving them the orange and yellow vegetables when they're that young, and sometimes they don't need it, they're going to be void of that benefit. Also, choline and inositol are 2 ingredients that we add to develop brain, memory, neural transmitters, neurons, all these kind of early stage memory and learning, cognitive development benefits for children that nobody else is doing. So we're pretty proud of it, based on now the 24 different ingredients as opposed to the 11 to 18. And it's just not label pink. Every one of them has an advantage, and I think it's all about cost. You know, they're selling it relatively cheap, you know, and then you're getting label pink, you're getting low ingredient levels, and you're getting a void of ingredients.
And the one thing we should tell everybody is, when we say uncompromising, also manufactured at pharmaceutical grade. So, why don't we get into some details? Let's start out with kind of the age. You know, this is for the young ones. 2 and up. You know, and to stay true to who we are, you know, there's 24 vitamins and minerals, but there's also no artificial colors, there's no artificial ingredients, none of that. No flavors. And, you know, obviously the easy thing is that it's easy to chew. You can break it real simple, but, you know, one of the other things, and it may be difficult to see, you know, I love this part of it because it just adds something to it when you open these things up, is they also have a little IDLife man on them. Probably my favorite part. I won't tell you how hard that was for us to make happen. You would be amazed. But you know, Paul, I said this was a creature of love for us, but really what it boiled down to is we identified a problem, and
there's nobody out with that. So that's consistent with what we do in the adult line, and that was quite often what the gummy people couldn't and wouldn't pull off because of the cost of it. I couldn't even get them to buy 30 grams as a sample because they said it cost too much. So again, Mark and Logan said it doesn't matter. We went dug in our pockets to be sure to have the best product for the ID nutrition. They were going to do the same thing for the kids. So.
Yeah. And probably my favorite part of the story, and you're right, Paul, we were not going to compromise, and that was a big deal, is the methylfolate and methylcobalamin. We were going to make sure that that was in the formula. And the reason why is simple. Why would we have something in ID nutrition because we know it's the best and not have it in our kids' formula because we know it's the best? It wouldn't make any sense. But my favorite part about the story is every single one of the manufacturers we went to asked us the same question first. What's your price point?
Yeah.
And our answer was always the same. We don't have one. Because we're going to make the best, and whatever it costs. And what we're going to do is make sure that we have the best, and then when we have the best, because that's what we live for, is making sure our kids have the best, then we'll determine what the cost is. I'm excited about today. Are you guys excited about this? I'm excited about today because this is just one. There's more to come. And I can't wait until you guys get your hands on this. I will tell you, it will be available after the show today, not at lunch. Not at lunch, and you'll learn why as the day progresses. But this is just the beginning. I promise you there's a lot more to come.